Dear learners, welcome to this our second lecture on human resource management. This is again the unit 13 in block 4 of your course TS3. In our earlier lecture on human resource management, we have spoken about the concept, we have discussed the definition of human resource management, and we have spoken about the role of human resource management in case of tourism services. Now in this lecture, we will do a small revision about concept and meaning of the human resources management. Then we will understand the human resource management process. We will also understand the meaning and importance of the human resource planning, and then we will appreciate the steps involved in the human resource management process. Means in the first lecture we have spoken about the concept and meaning of human resource management, and this lecture we will focus on the human resource management process. So let us do a small recap. What is human resource management? Human resource management is the branch of management that deals with people at work. It is concerned with the human dimension of management of the organization. As an organization consists of people, therefore acquiring them, developing their skills, providing them motivation in order to attain the higher goals, and ensuring that their level of commitment is maintained. These are main objectives of HRM. Now again, the definition of human resource management. HRM is planning, organizing, directing and controlling of the procurement, development, compensation, integration, maintenance and separation of the human resources to the end that individual, organizational and social objectives are accomplished. There is one more definition of human resource management that is given by the National Institute of Personnel Management in India, and it defines human resource management as that part of management which is concerned with people at work and with their relationship within an enterprises. Its aim is to bring together and develop into an effective organization of the men and women who make up the enterprise, and having regard for the well-being of the individuals and of working groups to enable them to make their best contribution to its success. See, this definition is focusing on the people who are working in an organization and their relationship within the groups and with their enterprises, and ultimately the objective is to achieve the organizational and individual goals. So what is human resource management process? How we manage the human resources? So process means it is a series of actions that are done for a specific purpose. So human resource management or HRM process simply means it is the series of actions that are done to manage the human resources of an organization. Or it can be defined as the series of actions performed to manage the human dimension of organization's overall management. It includes the usual management functions that involve planning, organizing, directing and controlling. So human resource management, it deals with the personal function or the human dimension of the organization's overall management. And like any other management, it also includes the usual management functions that involves planning, organizing, directing and controlling. So what are the various steps in HRM process? The first is human resource planning, then recruitment, then selection, then the next step will be socialization and induction, then training and development, then performance appraisal, then promotions, transfers and demotion, and then in the end it is separation. The separation can be on account of retirement, it can be on account of resignation, and it can be on account of termination. These are the steps in human resource management process. Now we will discuss each of the steps in detail. So first of all, it is human resource planning. What is planning? Planning simply means deciding in advance. So human resource planning can be termed as the process for preparing a plan or a chart for the future personnel needs of an organization. In simple words, it is the process of forecasting an organization's future demand and supply of right type of people in right number at right time. It also takes into account the internal activities of the organization and external environmental factors. In a service industry like in case of tourism, such planning it also aims at improving the quality of manpower resources. So human resource planning, it is simply deciding in advance how much manpower will be required, what will be the skills of the manpower required, and from where to get this manpower. So it is the way by which we will decide in advance that how many persons are required, what are the skills required, how to recruit them, how to select them, how to train them. It is the blueprint. So human resource planning, it involves analysis of the existing manpower resources, means how many persons are currently working, planning for the future needs, taking into account how many people with what skills and at what levels the organization will need. So we will also plan for the future, like how many people will be required, what will be their skills, and at what levels of the organization we will need them. Then we have to plan for the development of the employees by adopting in-house training, or we need to develop them by continuous education methods to upgrade the knowledge and skills of the employees. The next step in human resource management process is recruitment. See, in human resource planning, we have planned how many persons are required, at what level, and for what skills. Now in recruitment, it is simply the process of locating, identifying, and attracting the right kind of people in right numbers at right time. The core purpose of this recruitment is to develop a pool of candidates who are qualified for a specific job position. See, we are not talking about selection here, we are simply talking about developing a pool of candidates who are eligible and who are qualified for a specific job position. Depending on from where the potential candidates are being located, recruitment, it can be external recruitment or it can be internal recruitment. Means when we look for the potential candidates outside the organization, it becomes external recruitment. When we look for the potential candidates within the organization, it is internal recruitment. Recruitment, basically it covers the job description. In case of the recruitment, we need to give the job description, which is simply the outline of the job position with brief on the responsibilities, remuneration, possible place of posting, etc. Then we also need to give the candidate specifications. On the basis of job description, what kind of candidates they will be required, what will be their qualifications, what will be their skills required. Their qualification and skill, they can be divided into essential as well as desirable. Then the recruitment also need to give the contact details and mode through which the potential candidates, they can express their interest. Mean how they can apply. There can be online applications, there can be offline applications. They can also apply by writing a letter. They need to submit their CV, or there can be a specially designed application form. So the recruitment, it needs to give the details to the potential candidates about the job description, that this is the job, these will be the authorities and responsibilities, this will be the remuneration, and these can be possible places of posting. Then what kind of candidates they require, what should be the qualification and skills, and third, how the candidates they can apply. Next step is selection. Selection is the process of choosing the best suited candidate for a position from the available pool of eligible candidates. It is the process of matching the organization's needs and requirements with that of candidates' skills and qualifications. Means selection, it is simply the process. In recruitment, we have created a pool. Now out of that pool, we need to select the best candidate. So it is the process through which we select the best candidate. What we basically do, we match the organization's needs and requirement with that of the candidate's skills and qualifications. Methods of selection depends on various factors, like the job description, what kind of the job is this, how much time is available to fill the vacant position, and how many applications have been received, how many vacancies are there. There can be various methods of selection, and the choice of method will depend on these factors. So what are various methods of selection? Any one or combination from the below methods can be used for selecting the best suited candidates. First of all, there can be a direct interview. Interviews are simply the face-to-face communications. So interviews, it can be face-to-face interview. There can be telephonic interviews also. There can be video interviews also, depending on the convenience of the organization as well as the candidates. Further, there can be one-to-one interview. There can be interview by a board. Now the interviews can also be structured interview or there can be unstructured interviews. In case of structured interviews, the process of interview is rigidly defined, means how the interview will proceed, it is already defined. In case of unstructured interviews, it is simply between the interviewer and interviewee, how the interview is going to proceed. There is no defined structure. Interview method, it gives fastest result, but it also suffers from the subjectivity and it is time consuming in case of large number of candidates. So if we have exceptionally large number of candidates, then interviewing each and every candidate, it becomes time consuming as well as costly. Another selection method, it can be written test. This is one of the most popular form of selection methods, especially in case of government organizations. We all are familiar with the various tests that the government they conduct to recruit persons. The written test, it can be subjective or it can be objective as per the job requirements. Then there can be physical fitness test. In case of jobs related to defense and law enforcement agencies, physical fitness of candidates is of vital importance, and hence the selection criteria specifically mentions the physical fitness test of the candidates. Suppose we want to recruit the candidates for the security department of a hotel, then the physical fitness test is required. Skills test, in case of some specific skills are required for a job, there can be skill test as part of selection process. For example, in case of selection for a ticketing executive in a travel agency or airline, specific skills of the candidate on various ticketing softwares can be used as selection method. Means we can test the candidate on his skills on the ticketing software like Amadeus or Galileo, etc. Further, there can be other selection methods also, like there can be psychometric test which gives the information about the personality. There can be in-depth interviews, there can be medical tests, background checks, etc. before finally selecting a candidate. After selecting a candidate, the next part is socialization and induction. Socialization and induction is aimed at introducing the new employee to his job and organization. This program should be developed in such a way that a new employee get all the information he requires to perform his duties comfortably and effectively in new role and new organization. An effective induction program should include the general information about the daily work routine, the basic review of the organization's history, vision, mission, products and services, etc. Basically, in socialization and induction, the candidate they get to know more about the organization, as well as the organization they get to know more about the candidate. Then the socialization and induction also includes the presentation with regard to organization's work and conduct rules, the employee benefit programs, etc. See, the employee orientation can have two dimensions. One is work unit orientation, where the new employee is being familiarized with his specific work unit, his peer group, his subordinates, his superiors, etc. Then another part can be organization's orientation, which familiarizes the employee with overall organization in terms of its history, product, services, various locations, etc. So in case of socialization and induction program, the employees they know about the work unit, they know more about the organization. The next part in human resource management process is training and development. See, all these parts they are interrelated. First of all, we plan, then we recruit, then we select, then the employees they are socialized, and the next part comes is training and development. So training is the process to upgrade and improve the specific skills of an individual employee or group of employees. Training can be for an individual, it can also be for the group. Training process starts with the need analysis, that is, who needs the training, what kind of training is required, what can be best mode of training, and how to measure the effectiveness of training. On the other hand, development is the process designed to develop the skills necessary for future work activities. It is a broader concept as compared to training. See, the training it focus on the present requirements, while the development it focus on the future requirements. So the difference between training and development, as we have spoken, training focuses on the current improvements in job, while the development focuses on the improving the skills which will be used in future. Though managers as well as non-managers, they both benefit from training and development programs, but training programs, they specifically focus on the non-managers, means executive level positions, while the development programs, they are designed for the managers to equip them for the skills required for higher responsibilities in future. Now there can be various types of training. There can be on the job training, there can be off the job training, means the training can be provided while the employee being on the job, or the training can be provided by sending the employee off the job, means by sending him to some specific training facility. There can be regular and routine training facilities, and then there can be some specific training also. Means there can be routine training, like there can be a policy that every 6 months there will be a training for 3 days, or every year there should be a training of 1 week, or there can be some specific training, means the organization, it finds that the frontline staff, they lack in a particular foreign language, then they can provide the specific training. The next part is employee motivation. From the HRM policies of the service leader organizations, as discussed in detail in our previous lecture on this unit, it was clear that the quality of service delivery in tourism is greatly dependent on the job satisfaction of employees. See, in our earlier lecture, we have spoken about the service organizations and the leaders in service organizations. We have spoken that the delivery of services, that depends on the job satisfaction of the employees. Therefore, keeping the employees motivated, it becomes an important part of human resource management policy of an organization. Besides using the usual reward and incentive, HR managers, they also need to be careful about the positive and negative strokes that affect the employees' motivation levels. There can be negative strokes like you do not know how to do your work properly. Means if there is a lacuna, if the employee is not doing his work, then the manager can tell him that you do not know how to do your work properly, but this is a negative stroke. It will decrease the motivation level. He can also use a positive stroke, like you can do your work better by using this or that method. So the positive strokes, they help the employees to keep their motivation levels high, and ultimately it improves the service quality. See, because if the employees, if they are motivated, they are satisfied, then definitely their service delivery will be far better, and if the service quality is good, then the customer satisfaction will also be there. Next is performance appraisal. Performance appraisal is the systematic review of an employee's performance to understand the abilities of an employee for future growth and development. Employee's performance is measured and compared with predetermined or mutually agreed upon performance benchmarks to decide the future career path of the employee. Means in case of performance appraisal, we first of all we measure the employee performance, then we compare it with some predetermined or mutually agreed upon benchmarks, and then we go for the results of the performance appraisal. Now the performance appraisal, it can be informal performance appraisal, wherein the managers, they keep giving feedback to their subordinates with regard to their performance, and no formal record is maintained. Also the performance appraisal, it can be formal performance appraisal. Most of the organizations, they prefer formal performance appraisal methods, wherein the employee performance is measured using some specific formats or forums, and then it is compared with the predetermined benchmarks. If the employee performance is better, then he can be rewarded, or if the employee performance is lacking somewhere, then he can be provided with necessary training and development facilities. Then there can be transfers, promotion and demotion. Transfer means to change the work location of an employee. It can be a geographic transfer where the employee is shifted from one location to another location, means from one city to another city. It can be from one country to another country. But transfer can also be within the same location by changing the employee's department at the same job position. See, in case of transfer, the employee's position in the organization, it does not change. Only the work location can be changed, or his work profile can be changed. His department can be changed. Purpose for transfers can be better utilization of employee skills, If we think that employees have particular skills which can be utilized better at some other department or at some other location, then he can be transferred. Sometimes employee they also request for some personal reasons. Sometimes transfer can also be done as a mechanism to conflict resolution. Means there can be some conflict between two employees or between the subordinates and the managers. Then in that case, sometimes the company they can transfer one of them to resolve that conflict. And sometimes the transfers they can also be done as a measure of punishment. Then next is promotion. Promotion means increasing the span of role and responsibilities of an employee. In case of promotion, the role and responsibilities of an employee they are increased. It can be or cannot be accompanied with financial benefits. Generally, promotions they are also having some financial benefits, but not necessarily. An employee can be promoted without any financial benefits also. Then demotion. Demotion is the process to reduce the authorities and responsibilities of an employee as a matter of punishment, and it should be avoided because a demoted employee will have low level of motivation and it can result in the poor service quality. Then there can be separation also. The separation it can be on account of retirement, it can be on account of resignation, and it can be on account of termination. Managing the separation of an employee is also an important part of human resource management process. Employee separation can be on account of retirement or superannuation, on attaining the statutory age limit. Means there is a legal age limit to work, and once this age limit is attained, an employee is retired or superannuated. These superannuated employees they are brand ambassadors of the organization in terms of its HR policies. So superannuated employees they should be dealt with respect and care. Now another way of separation can be resignation. It is the way by which an employee leaves the organization by his own wish. So the reasons for employee resignation should be probed and recorded while conducting the exit interview. Means if an employee gives his resignation, then an exit interview should also be conducted, and in that exit interview the reasons for his resignation they should be probed, they should be inquired into, as well as they should be recorded, because these are the feedback which can help us in improving the HR policies of the organization. Then another way by which we can separate an employee is termination. It is the removal of employee by the organization. Means when the employee is removed by the organization. It can be in case of a punishment, it can be because of the grave misconduct or grave mistake committed by an employee, or the employee is not fit to be working in that particular organization. In case of termination, all the legal requirements they should be met with, and the employee should always be informed about the reasons for his and her termination. There can be some legal requirements as per the employment contract for the termination of employees. Means he must be given some notice or some advance salary need to be paid. So in case of termination, all these requirements they should be met with, and the employee should be also given the reasons for his termination of services. So we have seen that what is the process of human resource management. We started with the planning, how to plan for the human resources, then we go for the recruitment to create the pool of eligible candidates, then how to select the best possible candidate, then how to train them, how to develop them, then how to keep them motivated, how to measure their performance, and how to the separation of the employees. Also we have discussed about the transfers and promotions and demotions. Now there is a human resource planning and development model that has been developed by Mr. V.S. Mahesh. As we have spoken in our previous lecture, he is the former Vice President of Human Resources at Taj Group of Hotels. So he has developed this model for human resource planning and development, specifically in case of tourism services. So first is correctly plan for the requisite number of people required at each level of each category of skill, providing for exception, attrition and internal development needs. So it is the same thing which we have discussed about the human resource planning. We need to plan the requisite number of people at each level and what are the skills required. Also we need to consider our expansion plans, the attrition rate and internal development needs. So that deals basically with the planning part. Second, we need to identify the sources from where the people they can be recruited. The recruitment can be made from the fully trained people who can operate directly on the job, as well as the recruitment can be for the new entrants who will require appropriate training before commencing the work. Next, we need to set up an appropriate and cost-effective recruitment system. First, we need to decide from where to recruit, and then we need to set up a recruitment system. Then after recruitment, there should be an effective induction and training system to cater for every source of recruitment. Then we need to identify and make available the requisite number of trainers to operate these systems. See, we have decided to make the training systems, but if we do not have the adequate number of trainers, then it will be of no use. So first we need to have the training system, and also we need to have the requisite number of trainers. Then we need to install an effective personnel administration system to take care of those recruited. Personnel administration means how to manage those persons, how the salary bills, their leave record, their performance, everything it comes under the personnel administration. To whom transfer, how to promote, how to demote, and how to manage the separations, this all comes under the personnel administration. So there should be an effective personnel administration system. Then we need to set up a discipline management system whereby all employees they are prepared to accept the basic norms of discipline at work. Then we need to create a collaborative climate for industrial peace so that the customers they are not in the least aware of unavoidable tensions that are likely to occur in any management employee relationship. Means if there is any tension in the management employee relationship, then it should not affect the customers in any way. Then in the end, we need to set up a team of human resource professionals who have the requisite professional and personal skills to ensure the continuous monitoring and improvements of the integrated human resource planning and development system described above. So in this lecture, we have spoken about the human resource management. We did some revision about the human resource management definition. Then we go for the human resource management process as some specific steps. We discussed about the planning, recruitment, selection, then training and development. Then we have spoken about the transfers, and then we have spoken about the separations also. In the end, we have spoken about the human resource planning and development model that has been given by Mr. V.S. Mahesh, former Vice President, Human Resources at Taj Group of Hotels. Thank you.